What's up, guys? Welcome to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast, hosted by Ryan Watson.
And I'm Trip Sproul, where it's all about real life, real talk, and real estate.
Join us as we dive into the stories, trends, and insider tips shaping the world of Mississippi real estate.
Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or you're just curious about the market, we've got all the insights you need to navigate with confidence. So if y'all are ready, let's get real.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast. We've got a very special guest today. His name is Johnny Hughes, and his company is Hughes Real Estate, and he's an appraiser. So we're going to learn about appraisals and all the things, and we're excited. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate it
so much. I'm excited just to be back here.
Yeah.
It's been, 3 weeks?
It's been a couple weeks, yeah.
We apologize for a little bit of the delay in the podcast, but you've been busy. I've been busy. Our producer's been busy. But now we've finally come back to the table, and we get to learn about Mr. Johnny.
We're finally back.
We hadn't had an appraiser yet.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the spot, the appraisal.
Yeah.
We're going to ask you the hardest appraisal questions.
Hey, that's
that we
fine,
can
man. I
come
know
up
where
with.
the door is already.
No, it's locked. You can't get out. We've already locked it up.
We joke around. We do lock the door, and we tell everybody we're locking you in, but really we're locking everybody else out.
Yeah.
Because they'll come walking in here. Even though we've got an on-air sign outside of our little studio here, they still will come walking right in the door.
That's right.
What are y'all doing in here? We're having a podcast.
Thanks for coming.
We got to edit this out now. Thanks. All right, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, man.
So, Johnny, where are you from? Where'd you?
Originally from Byram. Lived there, grew up there, went to Terry High School. Ended up in Rankin County about 15 years ago. Been in Brandon about 6. Lived in Florence for 9, so just kind of made the trek over here. Love Rankin County, not going anywhere. So
yeah, married, got kids.
Married, 3 great kids, a beautiful wife that I don't deserve, and
whoa, I heard that.
Me too.
I got one like that.
All
too.
of us are.
We don't deserve none of our
that's right.
wives. That's for sure.
Marry up, gentlemen. Marry up.
Yep, marry up for sure.
One of them plays. We actually helped coach a baseball team together.
Yeah, funny story.
Yeah, Ryan was trying to get into this a little bit, and I told him, I said, stop. Wait for the camera to roll. So he did plug you and said, man, we got to get this guy on. He goes, we've been playing baseball together, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm a real estate. He's like, I'm a practice. Like, how are we not done business together?
So we're sitting out there, and somebody, one of the dads comes up to me, and he's talking to me about real estate, and I said something about MLS or something like that, and Johnny was over there throwing the ball too, and overhearing what we were talking about right there, and he said, what you know about MLS?
Nothing.
I said, I'm a realtor. He said, what? I'm an appraiser. I said, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, I come rolling up late as usual to baseball practice. If we're there, we're late.
Yeah.
But I heard those magic words MLS. Like, what are you doing?
What is he doing?
Yeah. So
That's fantastic.
Since then, I'm like, Johnny, man, let me give you some business. Let's do this. Let's do this.
And you just recently had him measure a house for you, didn't you?
I did. I do want to get into that too and talk about that story.
Well, tell us about, so you're from Byram originally, moved to 042 Brandon, got in Rankin County.
Well, Florence first, and then made it over here.
Where did you go? Terry High School?
Went to Terry High School.
Where did you go to?
Mississippi State.
Oh, boy. Yes.
Hale State.
That's what I'm talking about.
I just
You know what
quit
the name of
asking.
our baseball team is?
I'm sure it's something with dogs related. I should quit asking the college question.
You should. I feel like it's kind of a running joke at this point.
I ran into somebody, and they were talking about our podcast, and they're like, y'all still looking for an Ole Miss fan? I was like, yes. I was like,
we did have
appreciate you following us, though.
One last time was Ole Miss fan.
It obviously didn't make enough of a splash.
No.
I'm sorry, bring y'all back. I got to bring y'all back in the maroon country over here. No,
let's go. And they're playing good this year.
Y'all did have a good game.
Not trying to get upside down.
No.
Well, we're about to see coming up.
I know.
Tennessee.
We got LSU this weekend.
Yeah. And I heard your coach's daughter is dating the captain of the football team or something.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I swear I just read that.
I'm not that type of fan.
I just saw
turn it on Saturdays and I turn it off.
I saw it on Instagram. I was like, I know Lane ain't happy about that. But
no.
But yeah, I went to state and actually biological sciences major. So naturally, I'm in real estate. You know. So.
Yeah.
Kind of got roundabout way into real estate. Worked for Bank Plus for years.
Yeah.
Ended up moving their appraisal department, and I just kind of studied these things while I was working through it, and I was like, man, I could do this.
So you went to state in a biological
sciences
degree and end up in banking.
very, very random way
Yeah.
doing that.
So with that degree, would you have done stuff like I got a buddy of mine that works for the state of Mississippi, and he does
like
stuff. He's like
biologist?
he's like an engineer, like does stuff for like ponds and like. Is that what that kind of would have been with? Like he helps like, fertilize ponds and
Well, he probably,
habitat management type stuff.
I'm sure he specialized in something. That was
Yeah.
not my route. I was like, I'll be fine. I'll just get my bachelor's and I'll be good.
Yeah, okay.
But no, my first job out of college was a outside sales rep for a reference laboratory company, which sounds as exciting as it was. And I don't think, anyway, I'll just put it this way, that didn't work out.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way, ended up working at the bank.
Yep.
And next thing you know, I'm here. So
yeah. So, we've had other guests on, and the common denominator, it seems like, with a lot of our guests on the other side of the table here, is that they got into banking and then it opened up
They kind of went from there
into the real estate space, however you touch the industry.
Yeah.
They go into there where everybody's putting their money.
Yeah,
and they see what everybody's putting their money into.
Yeah.
And
you know what they don't become, oddly enough? Realtors. So I think we missed something there, but anyway. How did you go about, so your company name is?
Just Hughes Real Estate.
Hughes Real Estate. So when did you decide, you're in the appraisal department of the bank, when did you decide like, hey, I can go do this on my own?
Well, early on, I used to, when I had extra time, I would just look at the appraisals and I'd look at the adjustments they made and how they did everything. And I was like, I could do this. Just got really interested in it.
Yeah.
And then my boss in that department said, there's a job opening up. This was right around the 2008 housing crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So all the banks that didn't have an appraisal department, they were putting them together because they had to out of necessity.
Yeah.
And she told me, there's a job opening up. You should take it if you're interested in that. So I did that, worked under a great boss. Shout out to Doug McKinnon. Used to be their chief appraiser.
Yeah.
And he had a long career as a commercial appraiser. Worked under him and he taught me a lot. And it's kind of bittersweet when I left. Great people. I worked with them, and great people.
Sure.
Couldn't ask for a better boss, but just kind of wanted to get out there. It probably suited me better. I'm in the office half the time, out of the office half the time.
Yep,
Get to wear jeans, boots, and a hat.
Yeah.
I can't beat that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. So it fits. I mean, being self-employed is a double-edged sword, but
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It works for me, and I enjoy it. So
yeah. I'm actually going to talk to we are going to talk to the Rankin Youth Leadership Group of the Rankin Chamber, and
that's
talk
tomorrow.
That's tomorrow here at the office, and we're actually going to talk about entrepreneurship and working for yourself and the pros and cons, and
there are definitely plenty of both.
You got to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Because you can't take too much time off.
Yeah. You can do that. I mean, you can just, and I work solo, so I don't have anybody doing anything. I just kind of, I tried a couple people under me for a while. Wasn't for me. I don't think I delegate stuff real well. I kind of have to be hands-on. So. But it works for me. And, being in this, you could get into other different facets of realty. You can real estate just as far as selling it, or you could even go back in the banking world one day. I don't know.
That's right.
Or either the commercial side. I strictly do residential land, but I've thought about venturing out and trying to do my commercial stuff. So
why would you not? So you do survey land.
I don't survey.
Oh,
just
you
appraise.
just appraise.
Just
Okay.
appraise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not survey, but appraise, and then you appraise houses. So what keeps you from appraising commercial buildings?
Well, you got to do more hours. You got to do more coursework, and then you need to work under a commercial appraiser, which is unless you go work. Well, this is my 2 cents. Well, if you don't go work for a company, it's kind of hard to do if you're trying to do this full time and try to do that. I did that with the bank, and I actually did weekends and nights working under another appraiser to get my license and then get certified after that. But it's just more coursework, more logging hours,
more education you got to go through.
Why don't you speak on that for a little bit? Because I felt like I just asked a dumb question, but I was told one time if you don't, the dumb question is the one not asked.
There's no such thing as a dumb question.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know the appraisal world outside of like, hey, I need a house measured, or the bank's going to get this appraisal.
Yeah.
So what is the steps getting into the appraisal world? You just said getting your hours. So obviously there's you got to get a accreditation or license or something at some point. So what does the coursework look like? How do you kind of get into that?
Well, coursework's basically just basic appraisal principles starting out, and then it specializes into sales comparison approach, cost approach, income approach, and you just kind of work your way through. To get licensed first is good. That's the first step in the process. But if you really want to get on the bank's list, which is where most of your business is going to come from.
Yeah.
You got to get certified.
Yeah.
And then, the next step would be to get on FHA's list and do stuff like that. I don't currently do anything for the VA. I've thought about getting into it, but it's mainly the coursework is easy. You can do the coursework online. It's getting an appraiser to take you under their wing and get you logging those hours.
So that's the hard part.
That is the hard part. And there's a lot of appraisers that don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, is that the pro of being with a bank? Is you get under that wings, so to speak?
I had a little bit of a head start because I saw the appraisers and I saw the ones that were doing the most. I was like, I'm gonna call this guy. He's got he does a ton of work.
You're already doing business with them.
Yeah, well, the bank was, and I called him and I said, look, man, you willing to take me under your wing? I've already, I've got some working knowledge of this. I'm not coming in just completely green. And a guy named Randy Canals passed away too soon a few years back, but I worked for him for years. Great mentor, taught me, everything, and learned the ropes with him. But it's.
Sounds like
I got lucky. I think I got lucky to be under somebody like that, and that just had a plethora of work you could do. You weren't ever sitting there twiddling your thumbs, and he'd help you out with everything. He's a great guy, and passed away too soon, but I'm now.
I don't know if I know him. If I knew him personally,
either.
He had an office up in Ridgeland, but we worked under the same roof for a while.
Yeah. Man, I hate to hear that he, passed away. But I'm glad you got hooked up with him in your profession. He helped you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
I'm sure there's some listeners that know who he is. I don't know if I don't know. I think I've only called on one time to have a house measured. Mm-hmm. Usually, like you said, a realtor goes in to do the thing, and then we wait on the bank to go in to do the appraisal, and we do get yes or no, and we pivot from there. So I don't know. So
I mean, I guess I'll tell our recent story real quick and get into that real fast.
Yeah, man, go.
But I've got one listed right now, and I get on there like we do as real estate agents. We look at the public records and tax records and stuff and see what the square footage is. And a lot of times, and just like this time, the square footage was way off. Mm-hmm. So just a little shout out to all my realtors out there. Don't just go off of public records because they can be wrong. Oh. And most of you already know that, but just a little heads up there. But anyway, so I go in there and it's like, I think it was 2,000 square feet or something is what it said in public records. I can't remember exactly.
It was 2,600.
2,600, somewhere in there. And then my client was saying, well, this house is 4,300 square feet. And I was like, oh, goodness. I said, okay, can we
did it feel like a 4,300 square foot house when you walked in?
It feels pretty big. Yeah, I mean, it's let me finish the story and you'll see. But
4,300 is big.
It felt like it was maybe that big,
Okay.
It's hard to tell sometimes, especially with this house. It's three different parts. It was a camp, and then it was a lodge, and then it had another thing built onto it over the course of 50 years. I mean, it's just been a really cool house. So if you saw it in person, you would understand why I'm saying I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's probably why public records didn't know too.
Yeah. There's no telling what they're basing that off of.
And they've still got it from when it was originally, the first part was added, or when they first built the beginning of it in 1947. So they still got it in there as being built in 1947. But anyway, so I told my client, I said, look, let's get a professional out here to measure this thing so we can see what this really is, because public records say this, you're kind of going off of something you're not real sure. And sure enough, I called Johnny and I said, man, I need your help. He said, man, I got you. Let's go. So he goes out there and measures it and does a wonderful job. And the house ends up being 3,991 square feet.
Okay.
So it wasn't 2,600, it wasn't 4,300, but it was still almost 4,000 square feet.
We negotiated it to the middle, like in a real estate deal.
She was a lot closer than public records in this instance.
She was.
Yeah, well.
And that could have been something that her husband told her, her late husband, and so, but, and she's wonderful, such a sweet client. I can't wait to help her sell this house and find her a new one. It's going to be great. But all that to say, Johnny was Johnny on the spot.
Johnny on the spot.
You like what I did there?
Like
and he jumped on it, and he hooked us up, man.
Yeah.
And it was a great job.
I appreciate you letting me do it.
Very efficient. So realtors, if you need any of that, Johnny is Johnny on the spot, and he'll come help you and measure a house.
You just hashtagged him. You just hashtag Johnny on the
Hashtag
spot.
Johnny
If you're
on the
on
spot.
social media, that's what we're going to do.
Shout it from the rooftops. I'm fine with
That's your new slogan.
Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
Hughes Real Estate.
You know, it's important though because that square footage matters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that square footage matters for realtors when, I mean, the trick, I guess, with you is, did you get the measurement before you listed or did you already have it listed?
We measured it before we listed.
Okay, see, and that's good. You know, you might have a new realtor that comes in and just takes the public record.
Sure.
You get in a deal and you've got the wrong price per square foot or what the market, and that
You'll mess
you
all
got
your
that.
negotiating
Oh
up.
man, that could be detrimental. Not having that in, you know,
That would be
figure
one
it
of
out.
the main things I would say to realtors is find out your square footage. You don't want to surprise right before closing. You go, oh man, this thing's way different than what we had it listed at. And then the potential buyer comes up and it's like, I don't want, you could just run into all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's the same on new construction. I'll even see builders that have it listed with this, and it'll be 50 square feet difference. And he's like, well, that's not that much. But some of these houses are selling for now per square foot. That's a big difference.
You can just do the math.
Yeah, versus just a small, just a little fee to go measure it and have it and know
Just take 50 square feet and times it by $100 and then times it by $200 and see what, you know what I mean? And you can see how that stuff jumps on. So it is important.
I mean, you got some of these older houses are selling for 180, 170, 180 a foot, maybe 160 for some of the older ones, these older neighborhoods. And then you go over here on Stump Bridge Road and they're 235 a square foot, I mean, it's insane. That's how one of the main things you look at for comps, I'm sure. That's what one of the main things we look at for comps. So it's extremely important. And so I knew that going in. I was like, we need to know exactly what this square footage is.
Yeah.
So Johnny took care of it.
I've had a home inspector tell me before, and I can't remember if Brock alluded to it when we had him on, but I had another home inspector tell me that it's a good idea in general, whether you've lived in the house for 3 years or 10 or 15 or whatever, to every few years, it's kind of like considered preventive maintenance. Like, get a home inspection on your house. Spend the $300 to maybe $500, depending on the size of your house, and see what's going on. Make sure stuff's up to code, because one day when you do get ready to sell, and you may not know when that is, or maybe if you hadn't got a home inspection and you've been in your house for a length of time, go ahead and get one while you're prepping, and you can get ahead of some of that stuff that maybe that you might think, hey, this is going to come in a negotiation. I want to try to get the most bang for my buck. Would you say equally as important to get every so often appraisals on your house?
Absolutely. You want to know where you stand, and it can be a big shock to people when they put their house in the market. Now, here recently, after COVID, prices have gone this way instead of the other way, But on the home inspection thing and the appraisal thing, you're not talking about much money in the grand scheme of things of getting your property ready to market. And speaking on the home inspector, I mean, the house before we had this one, new construction, I still got a home inspection done. I wasn't familiar with the builder. Ended up being a great house, but I wasn't familiar with the builder. I was like, go through here and show me stuff that, I'm not going to be looking at. I'm not a home inspector. But same thing for an appraisal.
Yeah.
And going back to the square footage thing, if you go by public records, you might be close to right. Then again, you might not be. And if it's a 2-story house, there's no telling what that tax assessor's basing that off of.
No.
Well, you can get in a hurry on public records too. New agents may not really know how to read some of the public records, but there's an adjusted square footage and there's a base. And so, you pick the wrong one.
They're throwing garages and porches and storage rooms in there, and that's not your heating and cool square footage. So it can cause a big problem at the end of it.
Yeah, and it's something that seems like so elementary and basic, but it can throw the whole thing off for sure.
Absolutely.
I actually just had, we had a dispute here recently. I think we're about to finally close on this property. I'll keep all the details under wraps, but it was it was the same thing. My clients felt the house was bigger than it was, and so when we were like, hey, and they got the house measured, and they were shocked and they were like, well, public record says this, but that was, like you said, garage and whatever, and so
it could just be the footprint of the property in general.
That's right, under roof.
That doesn't tell you much.
So it took a while for them to accept the actual square footage, and that wasn't so.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, there's a difference in the heated and cooled and the footprint.
Yeah.
Of the house.
Now you mentioned like all the cost analysis, this, that, and other that y'all have. Well, why don't you go into a little bit of the different breakdowns, what y'all use, typically what appraiser uses to get your comps, kind of how you pull them. Well, why do we see all the ones when we only use the one? You know what I mean? You got the other ones out there to give us an idea.
Yeah. You can
just speak into that a little bit.
Yeah, you can throw the kitchen sink at it. I generally don't think that's a good idea. Because then you're throwing everything in there and just pooling it together. I basically say this: I don't ever look at comps before I go out to a property.
Okay.
What is my problem first? What am I trying to solve? I go out there first because you never know what you're going to run into. You start pulling comps, and I don't care if it's a cookie cutter subdivision. You still, this house might have some stuff and bells and whistles. These other ones don't, and you start pulling sales data before you get there. You can run into trouble doing that.
Yeah.
First thing to do is just go out and look at the property, get all the characteristics of it, measurements, pictures, all that stuff, and then just kind of come back and find your best sales. I mean, I do a lot of rural properties, so that can be a
challenge.
Tough,
big challenge.
You may not have a house that comps that it may be 5-10 miles down the road.
Yeah. By the time I get done with a couple of these rural properties, I'm ready to get back into a platted subdivision. Go, give me 10 sales. I can just use real quick.
Which honestly, that's the ones that we don't like doing as real estate agents. We're like, golly, there ain't no comps anywhere for this. Call an appraisal.
And you
got to get creative. You got to go where they are, and that might be 10 miles away. And they're like, why is this sale so far? I'm like, there's nothing there, man. This is this is rural Scott County or something.
Yeah, well, and it gets harder in the rural spot because you have not only, I would say, a majority of the time you got a house sitting on this. It's not a lot. It's acreage.
Oh yeah.
And so now you got to figure out like, well, they got 20 acres they're sitting on.
Find out how much that 20 acres is. You got to do that. To do that. I mean, anything like that. That's what you're basically going into first. I'm pulling land sales. I'm like, find out what the earth underneath this thing's worth, and then go from there and find your comps, because you're not going to find three perfect comps for anything out in the rural areas. And I've never minded getting out there and doing it, but it does take some time, and it is a challenge.
Yeah.
And you'll be glad to get back to some of those easier ones.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So I like that. So you go out there, look at the property, take pictures, do the measurements, and then if it's in a rural area, it's got a lot of acreage. First thing you do is find out how much that property is worth underneath the house.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I'm also putting that to thought whenever I get ready to go run some comps, like, because you don't think about that. I mean, you think about it, but anyways, I'd love to get into figuring out. I just love this stuff. So I'm learning.
You got to know it for site adjustments, because you're gonna have your house maybe on 10 acres. This one might be on 20. This one might be on 3. You're not gonna find a bunch of 10 acres. You're like, oh, that's perfect. I got 3 right. And
these 5 houses around the one I want to sell are all the same acreage.
That's right.
Same square footage.
Yes.
That would be
built in the same year.
I wish it was like that.
Me too. Plenty of times I wish it was like that. But man, I go
all
over.
What about the interior of a home? Because I was told before I got into the real estate game, well, not into the sales game. Me and my wife started investing in single-family rental properties, and we were about to take on a flip that we're going to hold as a rental. And so we were doing all our homework on like, hey, the kitchen needs some updating. This house was due for some love on the renovation side. And I ran into a realtor friend of mine who I graduated high school with, and he said, hey, he asked us what we're doing, small talk. He's like, well, look, he's like, don't get too caught up in, he said, whether you're doing for a flip, rental, buy, hold, or even your own house, like overpricing stuff and getting the most fancy solid surface countertop like granite or whatever, because he's like, a lot of those guys go in there, guys and girls go in there, and they're like, oh, it's a slab, check a box, or something like that. So I think there's personal touches you want to put in your home, that's fine, but can you kind of talk about like
how much that affects the value?
Yeah, like the value in like you can get nice stuff, but not, because some people will say, well, this is the highest grade granite, and the other person may not like how far the striations are away from each other. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
There's a lot of custom stuff in a home, and it's hard to tell somebody sometimes, because if they're not going to be objective with it like you're supposed to be. My old boss used to say, if you're looking at something, you say the value comes in lower than they're thinking, and they've really put custom work into this thing.
Yeah.
We've got this Brazilian granite from so and so. Hikers picked it up and took.
Yeah.
That's fine, but are you going to get that back out in the value?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, how do you put it? It's like you just called their baby ugly.
Yeah,
you're not trying to.
Yeah,
You're just telling
sure,
them, hey, look,
sure.
this is great, but the mural of your family on the living room wall is something somebody else is going to have to paint up. You might have spent 40 grand on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff is just custom. You need to conform. Not saying conform to every little thing, but you want to be conforming within the area.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a house that looks like a palace and everything else is traditional, construction around you.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff can hinder you when you try to sell it.
I get sometimes looked at kind of with the blank stare when I'm like, hey, go do renovations, but don't overprice don't outprice your house for the area. And they're like, well, and if you're going to be there for a super long, now you never know what's going to happen. You can plan to be somewhere and then you can't be anymore. Mm-hmm. But I think it's kind of like, old doctor friend of mine used to be like, everything's fine in moderation. I kind of think about that with renovations. Like, you get a lot of nice stuff that isn't the cheapest, but isn't the most expensive, and looks really nice in a house. And it's kind of in that sweet spot of everybody likes kind of this style.
Exactly.
And then the appraisals like it too. The appraiser likes it.
I feel like those things are things like, this is what you want to live in. This is what if you're updating your house, you need to understand that you're just updating it to appease what you view and what you want your living area to look like. Mm-hmm. It's not going to bring that much more value to your house, especially like you're saying, if you've got other houses around you that have absolutely they're outdated.
Yeah.
Do it like you said, moderation. That's a good word.
Moderation.
Yeah, don't go out and go crazy unless you want to go crazy. But know on the front end, hey, I'm probably not going to get all this back out when I sell it.
I think a lot of people get lost in, I'm going to do this because resale value will help my resale value down the road by X. If I'm going to put in, and I'm like, there's really no formula for that. You know what I mean?
I say it'll help you sell it quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. If somebody can come in and say, they don't, just even basic stuff,
first impressions are good. Like you said, it's going to help you sell it quicker. You walk in and just go, well, you get a wow factor. Sure. It does help sell it.
Yeah.
But
the emotional tag in or tie in to what they spent is what that's what you hit on.
But you're right though. It's tough when those clients that are like, man, I spent $100,000 on updating this thing. I got to get my money back out of it. I'm like, did anybody tell you that spending $100,000 was a good idea before you did that?
And did you cash out refinance to do that? That's the other thing.
Did you get a second mortgage on that?
Yeah, I was talking to a lender the other day, and oh man, they were talking about the Fed cutting the rates, and everybody started calling. You called me. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey man, I'm like, I don't think that's gonna help. As a matter of fact, the rates kind of jumped that day. You know what I mean?
They did.
And
they usually do that, and they'll go up.
And they come back down. But it was the 10-year Treasury that but
right.
We were talking about, the lender and I were talking about owners of these properties that it's almost like we forget that when we sell a house, there's something on the other end that unless you had it paid for, that we have to pay back. Right. The sales price tag is not the net. You know what I mean? And I think with COVID, a lot of people utilize the low interest rates, whether they were paying off debt, using their house equity, or renovations on a house. And then we get past COVID and people are wanting to sell, but they forget there's a second. You use that equity, but you got to put it back in.
Yeah.
And so when Ryan made that example about I got to get my $100,000 back, that's fine. If you got it sitting in parts, you can probably get it back out in some form of fashion. But if you tied it up because you did your kitchen reno on a secondary or whatever, you may not get it back out.
It depends on where you put it. If this thing's from the 80s and it's never been touched, you're probably going to get it out, or most of it, because you've brought it back up to what people want now.
Today's value, right?
But if you go spend $300,000 on a pool that shoots fire, you're probably not going to.
That's right.
Not everybody likes pools.
And they're out there.
A lot of people don't realize too, pools don't add value to your house, really. I mean, very minimal amount, you know?
I think very minimal to a certain clientele.
Yeah.
You know, to a certain person.
It depends on where you are, too. You know, I can go out to Reunion right now. That pool's going to get more. If I go out to middle of Yazoo County or something, a pool's not probably going. A shop's going to get you more value out of that property out in the county than the pool is.
Yeah, location.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man here.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just all, you know,
that makes a lot of sense, though.
When I first came into real estate, people were just like, don't overvalue the fact somebody put, like you said, you put in a super expensive pool. It may have all the water features of fire or whatever, but you're really only going to get a certain amount that it kind of like adds to the house, and usually is not the full what they dumped in on digging a hole.
And I do get that a lot. You know, we just spent this on this pool. I'm like, man, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go find comps if I can find one with that pool and justify. You know, I'll justify based on the data I have to work with.
Yeah. They're pretty and they're nice.
They're nice. They're awesome.
I view it as my, you know, a lot of my friends always poke at me because I'm a boat guy and they're like, oh, bust out another 1,000 BOAT. And I'm like, man, you can't, the price tag that you know, the time I spend with my family and my kids growing up learning how to surf and all that stuff, that's more priceless to me than the actual, like, you know, the cost of the boat and all that stuff. And if you're, you know, there's a whole financial side of that too. But that's what I view. When I see a pool, I'm like, you're doing this for time spent with family. You know what I mean? So again, moderation.
That's where you go into
maybe one fire pit by the pool instead of 3.
That's right. That's right.
Or whatever.
Go into it with that mindset, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm getting into. I'm probably going to overspend on this, but if you're able to do it, do it. Know your own position, know where you are, and you know your value, where you are, your equity, and all that. But don't expect to get, you know, full value out of it, full cost out of it. Cost doesn't equal value all the time.
Cost doesn't equal value all the time.
No.
Boom. Mic drop. Mic drop moment.
That's going to be the title of this one.
Cost,
That's going to be the title.
We'll have to have Sarah. I almost already forgot it. We're going to have Sarah.
She's over there writing it down now. Like, write down. That's a good one.
That is a good one. I got a question.
Let's go.
Speaking of measurements of houses, this is my curveball. Ready? All right.
I'm scared.
We bought. No, I just want to know why different appraisers have different tape measures.
Oh, you mean as far as the measurements go?
Well, yeah. So we, and I've had this happen. I've heard this happen with other people too. And you scratch your head and you're like, huh. So we bought our house. It was it was already lived in. Somebody had built it before us, and me and my wife got married, and we found this house.
I told him no hard questions.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I've had plenty
of
coffee.
I'm just kidding.
I just want to know if they have different tape measures. You know what I mean? No. But so we bought it at a certain price per square foot for the square footage. And so listen, I think when we bought it, it was measured at like a little over 2,100 square feet. And then we got it we've been in this house for 16 years. And then I would say somewhere in that halfway point of, 8-ish, 9 years, we had it measured. We had it measured because we were considering doing some things and we didn't end up doing. But, and then that appraisal came back and it was like 2,060 or something like that, 2,040 or 60 square foot. And I'm like, hold up a second,
Yeah.
So
it went from 2,100?
Yep, down.
To 2060.
Yeah. And then, COVID hit and I'm like, hey, let's get on this. Let's refinance these lower rates and let's pay this bad boy down and off quicker or whatever.
Right.
So we took advantage. Then that one came out and it was like 22. And I'm like, hold up a second. This house is growing and shrinking. And I'm just wondering, like, what leads to, because I've heard other people say
did you have a different appraiser each time?
I think I had to. We were using
Probably.
banks and different banks.
Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if the one of them did it before, he's going to go pull his file up so we don't have to remeasure him. So he's going to have the same square
Yeah,
foot.
so that's what I'm saying. We did have 3 different guys because we use, you know how mortgages will sell off and whatever else, and you deal with that. But, like, I don't think I ever had an independent per se or whatever. I guess it was always the banks. You know what I mean?
It was probably independent appraiser. You're probably just hired by the bank.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
But
I guess my thing is like, how does that happen? Because like you said, you'll have a contractor build a house, and they'll have, this is the square footage on the plans, and then you get the appraiser, and it's
gonna be close, but there are discrepancies in it, and that could just be the way they constructed it. I mean, you say an inch doesn't matter, but if you do an inch down an 80-foot wall this way and this
That
way,
matters.
those things can start adding up to the
Yeah.
overall footprint of the house.
Yeah.
The basic rule of thumb I follow is add up all your measurements on one side, add them all up on the other, and they should come out the same or either way. And that way, you know, you're not missing anything. Don't
Yeah.
ever get back to the office and say, oh, I missed that one. Let's just make it work, because you can't, you know, that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
That'll come back to bite you. As far as the differences is, you're going to have differences. You could send 3 different appraisers. You could send 10 out there. You're probably going to get 10 different numbers.
Yeah.
The smaller the house, obviously
It's weird.
should be a little bit of discrepancy. Some of that could come off of just the way they round up or down. It could be a half an inch here, quarter inch here, half an inch here. But if you do that on everywhere, and let's say he puts it at 20 foot 4 inches, this guy puts it at 20 foot 5, and if you do that everywhere, that can end up
Then it
coming up
gets-
with some discrepancies in square foot.
That's a logical answer.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody wants to hear,
That's
but
that's a human answer.
That's
yeah,
a human
it's-
answer.
That's a human
yeah.
answer. I mean, that's
Yeah, it
just
depends
reality.
on your rounding and whatnot.
yeah.
And you know, the only thing that can get you disgruntled as a homeowner is like it depends on what you're trying to do with that and how that price per square foot difference, whatever bank trick you're trying to do or whatever.
They should be close. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
They should be close. If they're way off,
I
somebody
feel like
messed up.
2,100-ish square feet jumping up to 22.
22. That's kind
That's
of odd.
It's 100
I've
square
got
feet there
so Tracy, me and my wife Tracy, we have plans and we're trying to go through steps, move forward to build a house. And my biggest thing, and obviously as a real estate, I'm like, I don't know what square foot. I'm gonna have to get that 4th measurement on this thing. We'll let you come measure it and see what you get.
Can
I
come
can
in.
promise you, he'll do a wonderful job.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that that's basically it. I mean, some of it's just rounding one way or the other.
Yeah.
And look, man, there's some guys out there that will not use a laser. I'm sure they are now. No, don't come write me nasty messages.
We're not saying any names.
I used to work for an older guy. He would not use a laser measure. You know, he was old school. He did. I mean, you take a tape and you take it all the way down a wall and it's bending like this.
Yeah.
That's a couple inches. If it's a long enough wall, that can make a difference.
Or you
So I
gotta-
don't like them. I don't understand how they even measured upstairs with tape measures.
Or you
What's
got a
their
dumb
deal?
regnet like me and doesn't understand every little mark on the tape measure. I'm like, oh, I know the big ones.
8s. There's
I'm telling on myself now. So I'd 100% use the laser ones, obviously.
Yeah.
They're just giving it to you right there, aren't they?
Well, yeah, and I use both. Look, there'll be
Yeah.
times I get out to a property, I can't shoot a laser down this long wall. I'll have to use tape. I try to get that thing as tight as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're just going to have little differences. The bigger the house,
Yeah.
there are discrepancies that can make a bigger difference. You know, especially you talking
Sure.
$200 a square foot or up. You know, that's a big difference.
That's a
Yeah.
really big difference,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
But
For sure.
it's always a good idea to get it measured. But
Yeah.
Sure. So, would you say
See, that wasn't a hard one.
that wasn't a
A
hard
little
one?
curveball. He answered it.
I just got to give him a hard time.
my
or
wife
give you
asks
a
harder
hard time.
questions than that. Man, I'm good.
So, would you say how majority of your business? I mean, obviously, real estate agents use you and stuff. I use you, but do you go through different banks? Is there multiple banks that you use, and
Yeah.
they go off of a list and go eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Do
It's
you have
got,
to get contracted with the bank?
well, you just do fee appraiser work. When you get on
Oh.
what generally most of the stuff comes over through an appraisal management company. We were talking about a little bit about this earlier,
Sure.
and I was telling him is if you be out in the field doing something, you look at your phone like, oh, there's an order, and if you don't get to it quick enough, it's going to go to somebody else.
Oh, it's like a rolling.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's dog eat dog world out there.
Yeah.
But now then you got
I'm learning something new today on
Wow.
that.
But you got some local banks that will just reach out to you. They'll have an appraisal department reach out. That's the much more preferred method. After the 2008 housing crisis happened, you know, everybody changed up a little bit. It came a little bit less personal,
Yeah.
and I can see how they did that. But then again, I think it took over
Yeah.
a mind of its own to where you can't even reach out and talk to anybody anymore because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble
Yeah.
with a loan officer talking to somebody.
Sure.
But
So you're saying it's important to have some sort of relationship with your local banks, for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
And they're like, "Hey, I got a guy. I'm gonna call
Yeah.
him." Instead, what was that?
What was that?
Well, that sounded like a doorbell.
Sorry,
And
sorry guys. If
our
you're listening-
advertising breaks coming in now. That will throw everybody for a
Yeah.
loop.
Sorry, something just went ding over here. It's random.
Yeah, so have a relationship with your local bank is important, right? But if you, let's say it's Friday and your week's been good, and you're like, man, I'm going to deer camp this afternoon. And all of a sudden, bing, if you decide to skip that, does it hurt your next, when the next referral comes in from a bank? You see what I'm saying? Like, the more you answer, do you like go up a line?
You get more business the more you answer?
Yeah.
Or
is it just kind of like...
You generally get more business the faster you turn them in. I mean, I would say that I do not work for an appraisal management company. I don't know how they operate. But, in this world, they want everything immediately, if not sooner.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I kind of feel like that in some things.
yeah. So you gotta stay on top of it. It's hard to do if it's just me. I got nobody checking emails back at the office. So I'm on that phone, when I'm looking at property, I'm at least scanning over it to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, sure.
Because it will go directly to the next guy if you don't. And some of them have short time frames where they will send that off. Some of them will give you 24 hours. Depends on who it is.
Yeah.
And different lenders use different AMCs, and there's in-house bank stuff that they might do just personally, email you, and then their mortgage side might use something totally different. And that is the case with a lot of banks.
I've got a big question I think a lot of real estate agents want to know.
All right.
What is, and this, you probably get this question a lot, when are you going to be done? But you might know where I'm going with this. But so, during, you got 30 days to close, 30, 45 days typically to close. What is your, like when a bank calls you, kind of walk us through what that looks like. A bank calls you and says, hey, need you to appraise this house. You take it, you do the appraisal. What's your typical turnaround? Do they give you, I've heard it said that y'all have 10 days or something typically to get that back to a bank, or what does that look like?
They don't give me 10 days. I don't know. So I think the bank probably gives themselves a little. They're probably factoring underwriting too.
Yeah,
when they get it back. Yeah, they're giving themselves a little time on the back end to get it all.
Yeah.
Because there will be things you might miss or something. And say, hey, some of it's silly. Yeah. Some of it might come back. The guy's name's John Doe, and they say, oh, we wanted this John B. Doe on there. Like, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but all right, I'll put that B in there.
Yeah.
But they're giving themselves probably a little room. It's generally about 5 business days.
Okay.
I would say in a normal market. During COVID, when everybody was refinancing and it was just crazy, you were bumping that out to 2 weeks or whatever. They were just going. There was plenty of them. I'd say I can't get to it in 3 weeks, and they would say, "Fine, take it." I'd be like, "All right," because it got so busy.
So in a normal market, we're in a more normal market, I'd say nowadays. So
they're expecting
typically about a week.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, that makes sense what he's saying too. Like he goes out there, does his thing, he gets it turned in, and then the underwriters get a hold of it. They may be a day or a half behind before they even get it. It's got to go to somebody else's desk before somebody else picks it back up.
And there are times the lenders drop the ball and don't order the appraisal time, and then they're like, "Oh, we need this like in 3 days." And if you can do it, you can do it. If not, you're like,
"We've never had that happen."
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the
we love our lenders.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
But I think that's where the miscommunication is probably the best way to put that comes in, because lenders sometimes may drop the ball and go, "Oh crap, I didn't order the appraisal. I need to call the appraiser." And then they're going back whenever their agent calls them. They're going, "Yeah, I ordered it last week." No, you didn't, because But anyways, not to call anybody out, but that's probably, I'm sure that happens.
It happens. There's a lot of moving parts in a real estate transaction.
No doubt, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
The main reason I'm saying that too is, like, for our real estate agents that are listening, stay on top of your lenders and say, "Hey, have you ordered appraisal? Have you ordered?" And it's not being rude or mean, but just keep up. If y'all are going to close on time.
Yeah. Well, we had a whole podcast on communication.
That's right.
One of the very first ones we did was just this business. It's centered around communication, checking in with everybody, because we're getting asked. Our buyers and sellers are calling us, "Where we at? What's happening?"
Absolutely.
I was on my way here and was talking to one of my sellers about getting through the termite inspection, and we're sniffing the finish line, but you have all these conversations, and that's no different. You know what I mean? To make sure that everything's.
Sometimes I feel like I over communicate.
A 30 to 45 day period seems like a long time, and then if you drag your feet a little bit, you look up and you're like, "Oh, that 45 days goes quick. 30 to 45 days goes real quick when you think about all the things that are in the real estate deal, like you said. Because you'll look up and you're like, "We're appraising." Man, I feel like we're at the appraisal already. I feel like we just got it under contract, And you look up and that time can be gone quick because it takes time for the other people involved to do their thing.
Yeah, and it's also, we might get the order and this I run into this a lot, and I'll contact the realtor and say, hey, look, I'm ready to come look at this property. When can I come look and take pictures? Getting a home inspection done, and it'll be next week before you can come look at it. Well, then you just talk with your lender and say, look, this is where we are, and I can go do it now and do a final inspection later. Most of them don't want to do that, and I get it. You don't want to waste the extra money. So if they've got plenty of time and they've done it, I think, in an efficient way, they've got time for me to wait another week. They're not doing it all at the last minute.
Yeah.
And
I think it's probably important to wait till after inspection too, anyways, because that's one of the outs of a contract.
Right.
Right. So if something falls through on inspection, well, they don't need an appraisal anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, because they're bailing it.
They're bailing out.
I get those too, where things fell through, and I just got back from the property. I'm like, you kidding me?
Have you seen an uptick in the financing falling through in this current market then?
As far as financing falling through?
Well, yeah, like where you're like, hey, never mind, the deal fell apart. Because I feel like this year.
That's a great question.
I've had a lot of, this year, I've had a lot of deals kind of crumble, and it's been
most of it was during these higher rates that we've had.
Yeah, that's what we're saying is like things are moving and selling and buying, selling, whatever. But it seems like they're harder to close right now, and little things in the financing world. So have you seen some of your business like you get something and like never mind? Like
I would say yes. In this past few months, I've seen some stuff kind of fall through. And, not a ton, but definitely some.
Yeah.
And it's the interest rates are part of it, but I mean, people bring up the interest rates, and like when I started, at the bank, 15 years ago, they were about where they are now, the interest rates.
Yeah,
but the median house price was way.
I know.
Yeah. And the groceries weren't double, and so it has an effect on everybody.
Yeah. And electric bills weren't,
Yeah, everything's up.
Everything's up. Insurance. Let's go back to insurance. We love talking about that too.
Yeah. Friendly double agent over here.
Friendly double agent. I try to help people in the insurance world every day too. And the rates. What's funny is I was looking at some of our bank statements with some of our rental properties this morning. And I looked and I had another escrow shortage. I looked at my wife and I was like, every time I open one of these daggum things, I feel like, and I'm like, I know what side of the business it's on. This is the insurance side. And that insurance on that particular house had gone way up. And then I shopped it and got a lower price. But, of course, it's higher than what it originally was. But it was way lower than what they were going to raise it to. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, people don't realize if things do get passed down, ripple effect is big for everybody. Because the higher those escrow payments go up, I don't want to have to adjust my rent for it. And we're good on that particular house for now. But if it keeps going every year, you have to make an adjustment. You know what I mean? And I'm trying my best to pay them sun guns down. And regardless of people's theories about interest and all that kind of stuff, because I don't want to pay the mortgages anymore.
I think definitely people are thinking about that insurance a lot more than they used to.
They have to, man. You're talking about deal killers and interest rates. Insurance has killed more deals than I think people realize because that part goes into your escrow and then that can affect that monthly payment. Yeah, and it knocks a lot. It's been a bigger factor the last, I would say, a year, almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Really.
I think that's something important that agents need to know as well going into something like, for example, because it affects the deal. It's going to affect the buyer buying the house if the roof's old. For example, I got one right now where before we listed it, I said, I want to go ahead and just tell you something so you'll be aware of it. How old's your roof? It's this old. Okay.
It's 9-ish.
Okay, well, let's find out how old it is. Well, we found out, and it was over 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. It's 15.
I said, okay, here's the problem. Here's not a problem, but here's what we're going to run into, and we can negotiate this when we get to a buyer. But you're going to have a new roof on this before you can sell this house. It don't matter if you got the best roof in the world, but if it's over 10 years old, insurance right now don't want to touch it.
Yeah, a lot of companies.
You could go into this, and we could go on this rabbit hole, but all that to say, I mean, that is playing a huge factor these days as well in all this, and so and we just finished a deal too. That we put a new roof on.
You did, and I did too, but my deal fell through.
Well, there you go.
So this is a great question. This is segueing into.
You got to be the best. You got to know how to negotiate it.
Oh God, here we go.
Glad I wore my boots in here. Man.
Yeah, I know, man.
It's getting deep, ain't it?
Yeah, it's getting deep. That's
how you know we love each other.
You just threw me off. Anyway, yeah, that's right. So speaking of roofs, I had a deal that was connected to another deal. So my guy was selling, and he had to sell his to go buy this one, and we had to put a new roof on us. And he agreed. He got it done and everything. But the appraiser came out before the roof was put on. And then the roof was put on, and so the appraisal comes back lower, but they were saying they need to come back out and reappraise, because I think people think, and you tell me, this would be a great question for you to say, kind of like the pool, does a new roof affect the appraisal versus having a 10-year roof or whatever? So it does.
Absolutely. That's a major component of the property.
I thought it would. I thought it would be a little bit. I just didn't know how much, and I couldn't speak to them on that. Like, I don't know what the difference would be with from your 9-year-old or 10-year-old roof to a brand new one.
Was it in your contract that the roof was being replaced?
That the roof was going to be replaced?
Yeah, I mean, like, was it contingent upon that?
Yeah, so we went to the home inspection and all that stuff, and they were like, hey, in order for the new people to buy the house, they needed to get insurance. And so my guy was wanting to sell his property, go get this other one. And so we did all the things, and it still all fell apart.
Oh, well, I should have known that going into it and saying, hey, this is going to be subject to a new roof.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
at the least, he could just do a final inspection.
Well, we thought, yeah, I know. And I think I learned a lot in that whole deal too. But we didn't think the appraiser came out earlier on what they were. I think they were like, hey, I got a spot. And they just came out, I was like, oh. Yeah. And the roof was being put on, like, literally, like, he appraised it. The next day, here come their staring off the shingles. I was like, oh, my gosh.
But he knew about it, right? He knew it was going to happen? It was in the contract?
We all knew. Well, it was after we did the home inspection. Yeah. It wasn't like up front. I mean, we got the home inspection, whatever, and started rolling, and then, got everything turned in, and I don't know, man.
If I was in that situation, what I would do is go, put a new roof on. I'll just go back out. I'll go back out. There'll be a new effective date, but it'll be the day after. And say, the new roof's put on. That's what I would. I can't speak on behalf of any other appraisers, but.
Well, that's a lesson learned. Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, make sure your appraiser knows everything.
Yeah. Even if a new roof's been put on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Good.
If it's before they're going to change hands and this person's getting it, absolutely.
And not only did they go, they went from old 3-tab to architectural. I mean, it looked great. You know what I mean?
Way better. Yeah.
I was like, that gum. So, I don't know. I don't know if it would end up going through anyway. I'm not going to fully disclose everything else. Something happened on the other sell side and then the other house, and so we were just kind of in the middle after the fact of the roof. But I didn't know, but now I will, and I'll be more in tune to that on my next one. If the roof's got to be replaced.
I would describe us like little property detectives. Any kind of information you can give us is more than welcome.
What did you say, property detectives?
Yeah, man. Just like, we got to find out every little thing about that house. Tell me everything about it.
Yeah.
I've had people print out stuff. I'm like, this is what we've done. I'm like, oh, man, thank you. I'm like, it'll be printed out. I'm like, I need to know everything, And people will say, am I saying too much about it? I'm like, no, you can't say too much about it. Don't tell me a crime happened in here or anything. Yeah. We're all about information.
For sure.
Well, that's good enough.
Man, I wish we had more time. I think we've already gone over an hour now, but I got so many more questions to ask you. We're gonna have you back on.
We can. I got a question though.
What? Let's go.
Who's the better baseball coach?
Johnny. I definitely don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, you throw the ball like this.
Oh boy.
He was at third base last game. I was at first base coaching, and I just kept sending him. I wasn't even looking at Ryan. Wait, come back.
Oh my God.
I did that to one kid twice. I was like, man, I'm sorry, buddy. I keep doing that to you.
Yeah, and I'm over there going,
go home.
Sounds
like y'all both need to change up the coaching on the sideline on the.
I may need to go to first. I just may need to go to first because all I got to do there is just go run all the way through.
Yeah.
Well, I listen to you even when you say
they don't know. They'll stop right there.
Stop right there. Put the brakes on.
Yeah, that's right. I love how this organically happened. Y'all didn't even know. You must not have been wearing your brand out there. If you were, he wasn't paying attention.
I'm wearing maroon usually. I'm representing.
He's out there in his baseball.
Hale State. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I actually hope they both do good this weekend.
I do too.
So they're not playing Ole Miss.
Ole Miss ain't been playing terrible.
We better tighten up on defense a little bit.
So y'all got LSU this week?
Yeah.
We got Tennessee. Well, it's gonna be
interesting.
This is gonna be a different.
And I'm trying to decide. My son has had 3 fall ball tournaments in a row leading up to this weekend. But he doesn't have a fall ball tournament anymore. This weekend we're off, and you know what that means.
Yeah.
You know what that means. What does that mean? Open weekend for me.
I'm sure you're gonna tell us.
What? I think you know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Where am I going?
You're going to the woods.
I need to go to the woods.
You're gonna be in a tree.
No, can't hunt yet. We gotta go.
October. When's October 1st? October 1st?
Next week. Oh wow, bow season is getting here quick.
Yeah, that's why.
No, man, I'm trying to decide: do I stay home and do things that need to be done around the house, but we still got a lot of deer camp work to do.
Yeah.
So I may not even watch these 2 games, depending on what time they're on. Grenada.
Okay.
You deer hunt?
I did.
You
I
did?
I don't find any time. I joined the camp last year and went about twice. And
Yeah.
I got back out of it. I was like, I ain't spending that money to go twice.
He ain't mad at them no more.
Look, I wouldn't go as much as I do if I couldn't go in my backyard. If I couldn't go in my backyard, I probably wouldn't go. Although I am going duck hunting Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Just bring me back some meat. We good.
Yeah, that's all you just want the easy part. Let somebody else go do that. Just bring me to the cookout.
Oh, these teal. Hopefully, we'll shoot some teal.
What time does state? Oh, is it teal season open?
Teal season run is this week. So if you're watching this week, it actually will be next week when we air this. But this week is the week of teal season. I don't want anybody thinking we're hunting out of season, but teal season only runs for a week. And
we are a week behind.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
On this podcast,
People can be like,
"What?
He's hunting out of season."
You just gave yourself away, man.
Yeah, that's how you
how
get
he
them
kills
birds
somebody.
early. Yeah.
That's how he kills all them ducks.
Oh boy.
All right, well, look, let's take us out of here. I think this has been a great
Yeah, man, we
episode.
appreciate your time.
Thank y'all for having me. I
And
enjoyed
we've
it.
learned
And,
so much. Let's plug you real quick
yeah.
again. Johnny Hughes, Hughes Real Estate. Is there any way they can find you on social media or anything? Do you have any social media or website?
Anything you want to give away publicly?
You work off of referrals or?
Well, no, I mean, I basically, most of my stuff's through lenders, but people reach out. But I mean, I basically word of mouth. I don't have a website or anything.
You want to tell them your phone number? So I'm just kidding.
You don't have to do that.
I'm just kidding.
We can refer if we can do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
On our own. If you don't have any, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Well, look, seriously.
I'm on Facebook, but I don't
check it.
I should do way better as far as marketing stuff on social
I
media.
know 2 people.
Yeah,
I might.
We'll hook you up.
Be hired.
But seriously, y'all go check out Johnny Hughes, Hughes Real Estate.
Yeah.
Hughes is amazing at what he does.
Yeah.
I am thoroughly impressed with everything we've gotten to work together. And I mean, I'm not just saying this because we coach together and our boys play ball together. I'm being serious.
He just got to see me tonight.
I appreciate you, and you do a wonderful job. So,
And if you wonder what your
whatever that means,
if you're wondering what your square footage on your house is and you really don't know, you can call the man and do a measurement. It's not the same as appraisal price, and you get away with that fairly cheap, don't you think?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's well worth it to know the
for
property
sure.
size.
Yeah.
So.
I like
All
it.
right.
Appreciate
Well, thank
it.
y'all
Guys,
so much.
appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'll take us out. Y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode or listening to this episode. I hope you got a lot out of this, and that's our goal, is just to help people understand the different parts of real estate. And we love y'all. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see y'all next time. God bless.